So, Dylan, off the back of your third number one new truck, the latest single is Can't Have Mine. You've co written this song with Matt Alderman, Josh Melton, and Dallas Wilson. Tell me a bit about how this song came together. I believe it's already been quite big on TikTok.
Yeah, man, this song so far, honestly, is on track to be like my biggest song yet.
Uh-huh.
Streaming world has been crazy. Blew up on TikTok, but I had this idea, and I wrote it in my phone. And it was basically, hey, you got to find you a girl. You just can't have mine.
Yeah.
And I had it in there for a while, and it's actually a funny story, man. So Josh Melton, Dallas Wilson, and Matt Alderman were writing on this particular day. And I called Matt. I said, hey, dude, are you writing today? He said, yeah, I'm writing with Dallas and Josh. It's like, dang. I said, you think they care if I crash the ride? It's like, no, come on. So I crashed the ride. I just showed up, crashed the ride, and brought that idea, and we wrote it, man. So it was one of those God things that was meant to be. And I'm glad it happened.
Wow. I mean, both New Truck and Can't Have Mine feature on your latest album, Living My Best Life, which is out now. What really struck me listening to this, particularly the first time, is how mature sounding it is, how confident you come across as a vocalist, and how I think in such a crowded male country market, how your identity really, really comes across and stands out. Are these things that I'm just picking up on, or are these things that you consciously tried to get across?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, dude, I just try to stay true to who I am. And, Can't Have Mine's a love song. It's about my wife. I've been with my wife since I was 15 years old. I've got songs, My Girl, Nobody. Those are both love songs that were big for me as well. But Can't Have Mine, yeah, it's a little more, like you said, I think there is a little more maturity to it. And I think that just comes from the fact that, man, I'm getting older. I've got kids. I've learned more now than I did. I know more now than I know 2 years ago. So it's just part of the whole equation, man, and what's going on in my life. But I think it all boils down to just me being true to who I am.
I noticed that you co-wrote 8 of the 16 songs, but there's also writing credits on there for people like Hardy and Morgan Wallen, Ernest, Mitchell Tenpenny, Thomas Rhett, and Brian and Tyler from FGL. When it comes to picking a song that you haven't written, what is it that tends to appeal to you? Or is there an element of when you get sent a song and you look at who was involved in writing it? If you see like a Thomas Rhett or a Hardy, does that instantly say, these guys know what they're doing?
Yeah, it can. And that's why I like to not know who writes the song. Like when I get sent a song, I like to listen to the song first. Don't tell me who wrote it. Doesn't always happen that way. But big names like that, big songwriters, big artists, it will influence your mind a little bit, going, okay, this has got to be good. But I try to my best to look past that or just not know who the writers are. But yeah, man, we lucked up and got some great songs on this album, Live My Best Life, and from some great guys like you just mentioned. And I was very fortunate to get that.
There's a great collaboration on there with Jimmy Allen, In Our Blood. Did you always see that as a collaboration, and how did the duet happen?
Yeah, so Jimmy and I have known each other for years, and always talk about working with each other, doing this and doing that. But I knew when I heard that song, it was such a special song, what the song says and the meaning behind it. And I sent it to Jimmy immediately. That's back when he was doing Dancing with the Stars over here, and I knew he was super busy. I don't know if he'd get back to me real quick, but man, he hit me back like immediately. He's talking about how he loved the song, and I was like, man, I'd love for you to be on it. And he said, I'm there, absolutely. So it was cool. It's cool to have your buddies come hop on songs with you. And like I said, Jimmy and I have been buddies for a long time, and so just love the fact that he jumped on this song and we could do it together.
Mm-hmm. You kicked off a headlining tour in the States towards the end of September. I can see there, you look like you're sitting on a tour bus right now.
Yeah.
How have you found that the new album has transferred to the stage?
Yeah, man, it's just, before this album, it had been almost 4 years since I released the album prior. And so I was touring on old music. And so now we got new music out here, and I can see the new fans, man. Like there are a ton of new fans coming to our shows. It's not just people from last year. Like these are people that's never seen us before. And I think that's due to the new music, man. I mean, it reaches more people, the awareness. And I think that's the importance of continuing to put out music, not waiting too long, because there's so many people out there, in my case, that still have no idea who I am. Like, we're a new artist still, so I have to grow that. And so it's been cool seeing that. It's been cool seeing the fans grow off of the new music coming out.
Following on from that, I mean, you played CMA Fest in Nashville back in June, and you know the amount of people from all over the world that event brings into town when you're meeting the fans. It must really surprise you when you write and record in Nashville, just how, I mean, obviously you're talking to me today in Northern Ireland, but just how far reaching your music has become.
Yeah, it is, man. Because I mean, I'm just a regular guy from a little small town, and to be able to travel this country, no matter where I go, there's somebody that now listens to my music or knows who I am, and that's just cool, man. I mean, I don't let that go to my head, but it is cool to know that, and I love when people walk up to me and go, "Hey, man, I listen to this song or that song." It's like, hey, that's what we do it for. You know, that's why we write. That's why we record. That's why we go play shows for, people to take something from our music. So it's pretty neat.
Do your kids have any concept of who Dad is or what he does?
Yeah, they do. I mean, they don't understand the big spectrum of it, but they know, like literally my son's like, "You're Dylan Scott. You sing country music." Like, he gets it. Like, he gets what's going on. I don't know if my little girl really does yet, but that's cool too, man. It's cool to have kids who that's just dad plays music and they listen to my music. And I mean, that's a whole other story right there.
The last time we spoke, you talked a bit about last year touring with Luke Bryan. And I remember this stayed with me. You said that the thing that really stood out to you was his level of professionalism, as in if he was having a bad day or maybe he was feeling sick, he would still go on stage and give it 110%. When you're on a big tour of that scale with an artist of his stature, do you get much time to hang out with him? I mean, is there any advice that he gave you?
Yeah, we actually got a lot of time to hang out, and man, he's just such a great guy. He's just down to earth, and that's cool because he's the biggest in the format. He's still at the top, and to be that way is pretty awesome. But yeah, man, you know what he told me? He just said, "Hey, you can sing, you got the stage presence. Just go out there and have fun. Like, that's all you got to do." And I mean, I was like, yeah, yeah, I think you're right. Let's just go have fun. So that's what we've been doing, man. We've just been having fun, not thinking about it too much because I'll get inside my head. Like, I'll get inside my own head and go, "Man, did the crowd like us tonight?" Da, 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 da. And it's like, you'll wear yourself out doing that. So you just got to go out there and have fun, and everything else falls in place.
You mentioned there the stage presence. I know you're going to be performing at Luke's Crash My Playa event in Mexico come January. But I watched in August of this year your album live stream from Luke's bar, and I watched the whole thing. And your performance fascinates me because you come out with this swagger. There's almost like a chip on your shoulder that you're going to win over everybody in that room if they're not already a fan. And you almost, for the first, like, say 5 songs even, you almost pace around like a UFC fighter. How would you say, do you ever analyze this? Like, how would you say your performing has evolved over the years?
Yeah, I don't really know, man. I think, a few years ago, I was a lot more shy than I am now. I think that comes with success, though. The more success you have, the more confident you get in who you are in your music. But I feel like I've always tried to, as a performer, like you said, from the very beginning, I've always tried to, once I get on that stage, win them over. And my biggest thing is when I get on stage, it's real easy for people's perspective to go, "Oh, he's just some cocky guy," or "Oh, he's up there thinking he's a big shot." And that's the first thing I feel like people think. And so my first thing to do is not only be confident on stage and be the professional performer I am, but talk them off that, say, "Hey, let them know that I'm not, like, I'm just a regular guy." And so whatever I can do throughout the night to just have fun and show people, like, "Hey, I'm just here to have fun and show you I'm a regular guy." That's what I try to do. And I think people leave there going, even if they weren't a fan or maybe thought something different, they have to leave my show going at least, I think he's a good guy.
Yeah. We've talked before about your father playing guitar for Freddie Fender. We've talked about you previously recording an EP of Keith Whitley covers. Something that really came to me as I was listening to your latest album. As somebody who has that love and respect for that old school traditional country sound, when you first moved to Nashville, and I think it would have been probably at quite a heavy bro country time, when you realized that the country you love wasn't what record labels and radio wanted or were reacting to, how did you adapt to that without losing any passion for your end goal?
Yeah, I just realized that there's, things are changing, and that's just part of it. Everything changes. I mean, everything in this world changes constantly. And so, some people can't let that go. Some people can't let go of the fact that they grew up on old school country, but yet they got to go out and do what's current right now. And I realized that it's like I love old school country music. There's a place for it. There's still a place for it right now, but I saw where everything was going and what it was doing. And if I wanted to have a career in country music, and I love it, so it was easy, but if I wanted to have a career in country music, I had to evolve from that, And
Yeah.
so that's what we did. And like I said, man, I love all music, so it's really easy. I love old school country, the stuff that my dad, brought me up on, the Keith Whitley. That's like I love it, but I also love what's happening now. So it's easy.
Following on from that, is there an artist or artists out there in any genre of music that you would love to work with and maybe even surprise people?
Yeah, you know what? I mean, I'd love to work with a ton of artists, but to surprise people, I don't even know if this would be a surprise at this point. I feel like every artist wants to work with this artist, and that's Post Malone, man.
Oh, okay.
Um, just seems like a great guy. I love his music. He loves country as well. I feel like there's a lot of artists with the same answer, but the guy just, I don't know, there's something about him that is intriguing.
When you ask artists that question, it's surprising how many modern country stars will mention like a Post Malone or just rap and R&B stars. Do you think that's just a natural sign of the times and reflective in their own sound?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just something different. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love the country collabs, but when I think about a collab, it's like you think about a big scale. You're like, man, what could we do different? What could we do that was really fun?
Mhm.
And I think there's something to the R&B, the pop. That's a cool element to a collab.
You've just celebrated your 32nd birthday, and I wonder, you probably had the time during the pandemic to take stock of, what you've achieved, but do you ever like go down to somewhere like Broadway and have a beer and watch people singing their heart out for tips and think, I'm living that person's dream, and realize, God, I've done it. I'm doing it.
Yeah, I don't really go down to Broadway much. I was down there though a few weeks ago, and that did cross my mind, man. I mean, and I think about it because I have been to Broadway in the years past when I was younger, not having kids and stuff, and I could go do what I wanted to do. But it does cross my mind, man. There's a lot of guys and girls in Nashville chasing just to get at my level where I'm at, and I feel like we're just now hitting the surface. So that's things I look at sometimes when I'm sitting here. I'm frustrated about this or frustrated about that or trying to get to the next level. It's like, man, there's so many people that would just love to be where I'm at, sitting on a bus in a town about to play music tonight. So, yeah, man, very grateful to be where I'm at.
And I think I ask you this every time, but forgive me for asking again. Any even plans, initial plans of coming over and playing a few shows over here?
There has been talks. I will tell you that there
Oh,
have been talks. So we'll see what happens. I really want to, man. It seems like our fan base is growing over there, which is what we want, and I would love to. So fingers crossed. We'll see what happens.
cheers, Dylan. Thanks for your time, man, and good luck with the rest of the tour.
All right. Thank you, Stuart. Appreciate you.